Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're all doing very well. Chol Hamoed today, Moadim Simcha, a good Moed, and for you are celebrating Easter. Happy holidays to you guys. Want to touch a little bit about the economy. I'm not an economist, but in the last obviously few weeks, we all became economists. We are studying. We became heavy students of the economy to understand, have a better understanding of what's going on. And I was listening a lot to many aspects and many points of views. And one of them that really struck me is one that I'm really following for a long time. It's Ray Dalio, and I think it's phenomenal. And I'm going to share with you at least my thoughts about what he said. First of all, Ray Dalio puts a differentiation between what's going on right now and what happened in 2008. What happened in 2008 recession, according to Ray Dalio, and I'm going to touch a little bit about it. But basically, what happened in 2008 recession, it's a recession, and unfortunately, right now, what we're going through, unfortunately or fortunately, it depends on how you look at it. It's a depression, which is more equivalent, it sounds more like the Great Depression, 1930s, 1921, 1929, and the way he puts it this way, I put a little notes in order for me to remember everything that I wanted to say. So basically, first of all, what's the difference between what happened in 2008 and what's happening now? And then I'm going to go back a little bit. 2008, what happened basically was the banks failed. Why? Because of the mortgages, the subprime crisis, CMBS, all these things. The banks failed because they were heavily invested in all these things. Came out the government and bailed them out. Okay, came out the government and bailed them out, and it basically worked for a little while, and even more for a little while. Basically, we had a long period of. It took basically for the economy. It took about 3 years to start going back, and in some places it took a year, in some places it took 3 years to come back, some places it took 4 years to come back, but it was definitely a recession. It was a heavy recession. It was for some people lost everything. It was very tough. But if you look at what's happening right now with the coronavirus, it's much heavier, because it puts the difference, because what happens then was the banks. The government came out in order to bail out the banks. In here, the government is coming out in order to bail out small and medium businesses. This is the main, I would say, the core of our economy, okay? The core of our economy, or economies in the world, not only in America, but the core of the economies in the world. This is very serious. And in order to put the point on how things are different, we have to go through a little bit of what's going on, okay? Interest rates, what's similarity between what happened in the Great Depression and what's happening now? Interest rates are the lowest. The government are coming out with stimulus packages to the civilians as never before. Okay, it's very similar. It's unprecedented what's really going on, and things are how do you say? The central banks cannot buy financial assets any longer. The only thing that they can buy is government bonds, which are used for the stimulus packages in order to help the crowds. And that's what happens. And just to touch a little bit of what Ray Dalio speaks about, what I have understood from what he said, which is phenomenal. I think it's really interesting. He puts the economy in 4 points. 4 points of the economy. What makes an economy? First of all, the productivity, the line of productivity, the innovation, and this is basically a growth of 1% to 3% a year. And then the second thing is the short debt cycle, okay, which is happening every decade or so, okay. And then you have recessions, and then you have the long-term cycle, which is the long-term debt cycle, which is every 50 to 75 years, what we call depression, okay? And then obviously what makes policies, and meaning what makes an economy is also policies and politics and all that stuff. And politics means what we call between people, within governments, the unity of governments, and obviously between countries. Okay, that's what happened in World War II, etc., etc. So that's what we're talking about. Now, in order to get things a little bit more crisp, I would call it, and to understand of what Ray Dalio said, what I understood from him, of what could get us out of this, it's very simple stuff, because economies are basically triggered by human nature. How we behave, we trigger economy. How is an economy triggered? By cash and credit, okay, cash and credit, and goods that are exchanged for this cash and credit. And what happens when this whole thing gets robust? Basically, there's too much debt. The debt is way beyond what people are capable of, what governments are capable of. Then the problem starts to creep on everyone. That's what happens. And then in smaller cycles, there are all kind of little patches. You put a patch, it's a big patch, it's not a small patch. It's like what happened in 2008, 2000. We saw it many times. But in a cycle, in the long-term debt cycle, what happened in the Depression 1929 to 1945, it was extended due to the World War II. You're talking about something much, much bigger. You're talking about, it's not a patch. It's not something that you could resolve within right now. He talks about something that will not be resolved so quickly, okay? And that, and how it will be resolved by few things. First of all, restructured debt. Second thing is by redistribution of the money, and by governments and central banks printing out money. And as long as this whole thing is balanced, the economy could work. This whole thing could work. What could get everybody out of this crazy situation? Human nature, innovation, the fact that people will start to adapt to what's going on, and will start behaving properly to what's going on, and we'll be able to see what the reality, the new world order, what he calls, is, and we'll be able to adapt and to do what and to work through what they can work through, just like human rights have done that many times before. And this is very interesting. So it's up to us, basically. It's also up to people, the way they get along with each other. Are they going to be resentful towards each other? Are they going to say, this is my money, am I going to keep my money, I'm not going to help this other guy? Because the world could work in a way that capitalism, the best capitalism, works not as extreme capitalism, but as a capitalism that has the ability of the people who are what we call the haves can help the have-nots. And that's the idea. And the idea is that we come and help each other. We come together, and we are being able to see how can we, beyond what the government does, come and help each other and be open to one another, and how unity and how people come together in these times of crisis. And that's what will make us win. The times of crisis are being determined. How can we get out from this time of crisis is by how we work together with one another, how we help each other. That's how we're going to do it. So we have to help each other. We have to be attentive to what's going on in the world around us, and to see what can be done. And this is a global thing. This is something that hit us really hard. And according to what he said, it sounds pretty harsh. When I heard it the first time, and he was pretty determined that this is more similar to what happened in 1929. So it really hit me in the gut a little bit, because we are all experiencing it, myself included. Everybody's experiencing it, and we'll have to again adapt, think together, and think. And another thing that he said that is very interesting, whoever is going to be able to innovate. The entrepreneurs come out of these, everything, how do you say, from all these troubles, you have those entrepreneurs that come out. All these innovations, all these new ideas in the new world order, what we call, that will come out. People will adapt, but then you'll have those people that will, due to this crisis, will find a way to emerge. Okay? So I wish you guys to be able to come out of this trouble, to be able to be positive, stay positive, Stay productive. This is the most important thing. Stay productive. Work through these problems. Stay positive. Think about your families. Think about what you can go through, how we can get through this. Okay? And I wish you all a happy holidays. Happy Passover. You guys take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.